Darkness, you can quit any time. I mean, Sonic 06 has already been reviewed plenty of times. Isn't the topic a little dead?
Only when I am finished here will it have my permission to die. I had a lot of people actually come to me and point stuff out, as if you know more than me or something crazy like that. Well, some of you do. For one, you remember the Soriana thing that I bitched about? Well, there is actually an explanation for that. See, with the Japanese language and how it works, I guess L's and R's tend to get mixed up and confused, or something like that. I don't really know the details, I didn't really care. The point is, this is a localization error, not a blatant misspelling. Does it still count as a plot hole? Probably, but some people are like, does that really count? You know, localization error sometimes happen. Okay, you know what? Fine. We'll take that one off there. But the number of plot holes still stands firmly at 42. And here's why. See, there was a plot hole that I missed, as it turns out. When Sonic's fighting the Egg Wyvern, during the fight, Eggman will destroy parts of the platform. The question is, why doesn't he just destroy the entire platform? And the answer is, because that wouldn't make for a good boss fight, I guess, even though this boss fight sucks to begin with. So yeah, there's still 42 plot holes. Now if we can move on to Shadow's story, I can't believe how quickly this story falls completely in on itself. You know, at least Sonic's story got through the first cutscene before the plot holes really started to pile on. But Shadow's story doesn't even begin to do that. And the funny thing is, a lot of people will sit there and tell me that, oh, Shadow's story is actually alright. Shadow's story is actually pretty good. No. No, it's not. Better than Sonic's story, but that's not saying a lot. Okay, seriously, guess how quickly it takes for the plot holes to start here. Okay, he busts in and goes through robots like they're nothing, which is something you can't do in the actual game, but I won't count that yet. No. And he jumps over the frickin' wall, and he's in the base, and he radios to Gun, or G-U-N as they call it, because they couldn't say the word gun, that would be bad. And then he teleports.
Understood. Initiating the mission now.
Right off the bat. Okay, you're probably wondering why I'm counting this twice. Well, that's because the very fact that he teleports here sets up two huge gaping plot holes. The first one is that if he can teleport, why doesn't he just warp everywhere? See, prior to this, in any game, there was a simple explanation for why he couldn't just teleport anywhere he wanted nonchalantly. In Sonic Adventure 2, he didn't have a Chaos Emerald all the time, so he couldn't always do it. In Sonic Heroes, well, he was with Rouge and Omega, so he couldn't just leave them behind since he was working with them. In Shadow the Hedgehog, you could use Chaos Control during gameplay, so there you go. And in this game, it's just, he just doesn't do it. And you know what the best part is? He never uses Chaos Control to warp. Ever again. Ever. It's never used for this esteemed purpose. It's never used for the one thing everyone knows it does. Ever! Oh, and now, of course, you're going to be wondering, well, what about the other plot hole? Okay, how about the fact that Shadow doesn't have a Chaos Emerald at this point in the story? Shadow is not capable of using Chaos Control without a Chaos Emerald. That has been something that has been clearly defined throughout the entire series. It is one of the rules behind the use of Chaos Control. Think back. He's never been able to use it without an emerald. Even in Heroes, when it's not possible for him to have an emerald, which was a plot hole in that game in itself, during the Team Blast, he has an emerald. At the very least, they knew that he needed one. It didn't make any sense from his plot perspective, because everyone else is gathering the Chaos Emeralds, so it's impossible for him to have one, but still, they thought about it. And what about in Shadow the Hedgehog? Yeah, before you unlock the Chaos powers in that game, you pick up an emerald immediately right off the bat. And here, does he need an emerald? No. No, he doesn't need one. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. He needs it. He needs an emerald. You know, and I talk more about the following level, but this is where we're gonna get into the whole rehashing issue, because this level is quite literally the same fucking level you played as Sonic. No joke. The only difference is you're playing as Shadow, and Shadow's gameplay isn't that different from Sonic, so this is basically the same level over and over and over again. The big difference is that Shadow has a few powers he can use. For example, he can beat people in the face after he does a homing attack, which actually causes some gameplay issues if you're not used to it. And the other thing is that Shadow's gameplay seems to be more combat heavy, which is actually a bad thing on the basis that you continuously have to defeat enemies in order to progress. You have to open doors. So the combat gets so fucking old. There isn't enough depth here to keep you going. It's not like this is Bayonetta or Ninja Gaiden or God of War or something. You don't have combos or, you know, super attacks or magic spells you can do. No, it's just homing attack and beat people in the face over and over and over again. And it just wears on and on. And let me tell you, the rehash levels don't make it any better. And yeah, you get to play as Rouge at one point during this level. That's great. Whatever, I'll talk about her gameplay in a second. The other thing about Shadow's gameplay that you might want to know is that there are vehicles, because I have no fucking idea why. And this time you have to use the fucking conveniently placed military-grade cart to run around destroying searchlights, because apparently once you destroy all the searchlights, then the door will open. Which doesn't make any sense to begin with. But why the fuck is this cart here? There's more than one! Who put these here? Why would Eggman just leave these around? These are clearly not made by him. Trust me, I know. Why is it here? Why? You meet up with Rouge, and they have this fucking scepter thing, which I'll talk about in a second, because this whole thing is one big giant plot hole to begin with. And then, fucking Egg Cerberus attacks again, because, yeah, on top of rehashing the levels, because that wasn't bad enough, now they rehashed the fucking, the boss fights, and it's the same fucking fight. The only difference is that it's just a little bit more difficult. Just a little bit. For one, there are minions, you know, other enemies besides the boss. Okay, that makes it a little harder, and for two, this boss will actually throw you off of its little horn thing occasionally, and you have to homing attack back on. Other than that, there's really no major difference between the two fights. So, you know, as if you didn't feel like you were playing the same thing over and over and over again, getting a grating sense of deja vu. Now they just throw this at you. Great, that's great. Thanks for that. So they move on and they fucking leave the base and they find this underground thing. I have no idea where the hell they're at. And Rouge tells Shadow about fucking Soliana, and so they decide to meet at Kingdom Valley, and thank fucking Christ that Gunn had the sense to not make Shadow do the stupid trials to get into it. No, they just arranged for a conveniently placed teleporter to take you to the entrance to the level, because that's something the military could just do. Just casually open up a space-time rift to take you to the entrance to where they're meeting you. And really, why would they meet in such an out-of-the-way location? You know, why not meet, you know, someplace in town or something? Just you know, send a representative and hand them the scepter. And not fucking hard. And by the way, Shadow's fucking run animation drives me nuts. And let me tell you why. It's because of this fucking sound effect. It sounds like someone brushing their teeth or something. And it just goes on, and it's the same sound. Over, and over, and over again. It gets old. So you get to fucking Kingdom Valley, which by the way, is once again the same stage you already fucking played as Sonic. So that's good. The only difference is now there's this little hunting mission where you play as Rouge, and you gotta go around and find 3 keys. So it's kind of a throwback to the Sonic Adventure games. The only difference is now you don't have a radar at all, and Rouge's gameplay is completely and totally fucking broken in every conceivable way. For one, you throw bombs at enemies, which take forever to throw, and it's just really slow and awkward. You just want to kick them in the face like you could before, but no, that was too much fun. But the best part is that Rouge, seriously, I can't stress it enough, gets stuck to walls. And Christ almighty, I have no idea what the hell they did. Why wouldn't you fix a blatant bug like this? This is such a huge problem. And then the wall fucking glitched out, and somehow I phased to the other side. I don't even know what the fuck happened here. I think it's because in the game's coding, there's no separation between ceiling and wall, so there's a way to phase through the tiny crack in the top corner. But god damn, the best part is I actually was supposed to come in here to get a key, but I couldn't actually get the key until I summoned the enemies by opening up a window like you're supposed to, which I couldn't do before, and I just, glitched through the wall, because that's fun and great. You fly around, you find the fucking keys, because that's fun, and then you play as Shadow, nothing of interest happens, it's the same fucking stage, you played as Sonic, why are you bothering? Good goddamn it, make some different levels, alright? That is not hard. So they get to their rendezvous point with the fucking scepter, which is mine. It belongs to me. And Dr. Robotnik shows up, and I part of me actually wants to like this scene because I like how there's this sense of respect between all these characters since they've worked together in the past. Like Rouge and Shadow both have a tendency to call Eggman Doctor instead of Eggman or Robotnik. They say he's the Doctor, and Dr. Robotnik's always polite with them, and he asks them for the scepter back rather than just destroying them with his robots. I just think it's a really interesting scene. It's just too bad it's in this game because it basically ruins it. So during the fight for the scepter, it falls on the ground, and I guess that somehow breaks it or causes it to malfunction. I don't even know how the fuck this thing's supposed to work. Eggman freaks out and says it's no use because that was unnecessary. Thanks for that. And he orders everyone to pull back, even though it's clear his robots are fucking dead. And this fucking Shadow thing comes out and goes into Shadow, so it becomes Shadow. Super Shadow, shadowy, Shadow. It's Shadow, so hardcore Shadow. I'm goth, Shadow. Emo Shadow. God damn it, Shadow. Look, it's emo Shadow. And so this is fucking Mephiles. He's like the main villain, and everyone likes to talk about, oh, he's like the best character in the game, and I really want to say that, but the problem is there's so many fucking holes with his very existence and his entire evil plan, which I'll get to later, and it's really hard for me to like him. He could have been cool. He really could have. I don't know why he lacks a mouth, but he really could have been cool. There was a way to do this, and had the writing been way better, this character would have been really, really interesting and really, really cool. But no! Of course not! Why? God damn it! So, Mephiles has the power to control time and just blips everyone out of existence. Because that's good. That's great. Love it. And then teleports them into the distant future. Because he can do that, I guess. Just because. So they get there and they try to figure out where the hell they're at. And then Rouge says that they're still in the Doctor's base. You weren't in the Doctor's base! You were in Kingdom Valley when you got teleported! And how the fuck in any way is this Kingdom Valley? I don't get this. When Sonic and his crew were teleported, they arrived in the same exact location where they were teleported from. Yet every other time anyone is teleported in this entire game, it is clearly a different location. It is abundantly clear it cannot possibly be the same place. So how the fuck is this time travel thing supposed to work? Do they show up in the same spot or don't they? Make up your fucking fucking minds. I mean, maybe you could argue that it's because of the way Eggman's machine worked as to why they showed up in the same spot. But isn't it a little fucking impractical, you know, with Mephiles' powers that he, you know, that you just show up at a random location? I mean, you could show up anywhere. And again, I have to reiterate how fucking stupid it is that Shadow and Rouge and Sonic and his crew just happen to show up at the exact same spot in the exact same time period as when they were teleported, because they couldn't show up at any other point in time. You could argue that Mephiles sent Shadow and Rouge to this spot intentionally, but how could he have possibly known where Sonic and his crew were being teleported to? I guess you could say, oh, he controls time, he just knows that, but that just raises all sorts of fucking questions that I'll talk about later. So they decide again to go and find the Chaos Emeralds and use Chaos Control. Shadow gets all dramatic because fuck it. And then you gotta play fucking goddamn Crisis City again. It's the same fucking level I played before. Nothing about it is different. I can walk on walls. Great. Love it. There's some vehicles. There's a hang glider. That was also in Kingdom Valley. That was fun. No, it wasn't. And I have no idea what's going on here. Yeah, I know that wasn't a plot hole. It was a game glitch. I don't care. Actually, this is a plot hole. How the fuck is there a hang glider just randomly here? Like, before I could kind of argue that, you know, maybe GUN placed it there. God, did I call him GUN? I mean Gun, because that's what it is. You could argue that Gun fucking placed it there for them to use. Okay, I follow that logic, but how the fuck do they have it here? In the post-apocalyptic future, you know, it's a little fucking convenient, don't you think? So they find Omega, who's just been sitting around for 500 years, I guess. And he's in standby mode, they can't get him out of it, so they just kind of leave him because they can't do anything, I guess. I just find it funny that Omega has this function where he can just sit around for eons without a problem. Won't his batteries run out or something? What does he run on? Solar power? I don't get it. I'm not elaborating much because we've seen this all before in Sonic's story. And then they fucking go to Flame Core, which is the same fucking level. Again! Do something different. I have to I'm walking loops again, and no! It will never get old! I'm still gonna do it every fucking time! Christ almighty! God damn it, there's so many enemies you have to kill. And really, I just have to question the nature of these enemies I'm killing. What are these things? I mean, it's clear to me that they're the spawn of both Iblis and Mephiles respectively, depending on which color they happen to be. But how are these things created, and why? Why is it that Shadow only fights the purple ones, and where nobody else encounters them? Are they under the control of Iblis and Mephiles? If so, why does Iblis make spawn? I mean, I can actually kind of see Iblis doing that, you know, passively, since he's so fucking enormous, and he just throws lava everywhere, but what about Mephiles? Why is he doing that? I don't understand how this makes any level of sense. You fight Iblis again, and it's the same fight. Literally, there's no difference, and it's just another waiting game. The fight wasn't fun the first time. Why would I have to do it twice? Why would you think this is good game design? What is wrong with you? And the thing I love about these fights, the thing that I find stupid as hell, is why are your other friends never helping? Ever. You only ever fight these things as the character you happen to be playing as. They never actually help you with the fight. They just stand there with their thumbs up their asses, just watching Shadow solo this fucking demonic force of fire and brimstone. I mean, for Christ's sake. And they did the same thing when Sonic fought him in his story. Do something! So they use Chaos Control for that thing that Chaos Control could never do before. And everyone teleports back. Again, no idea how the fuck they know that it's going to the right place. But Shadow decides to stay behind because he sees Mephiles. And he's going to pursue that shit even though he'll be stuck in the future and not giving a fuck. But so meanwhile, Rouge gets back and realizes Shadow isn't there. And radios her fucking boss and says there's a priority situation, she has to handle this shit.
Report your status immediately. Have you retrieved the Book of Darkness?
I should probably stress, as someone who owns this very significant artifact because it's mine, of darkness, it is clearly belongs to me, that is called the Scepter. And in fact, every other time during the course of this game, they call it a scepter. So what the fuck is up with this dialogue calling it a book? That's not a book! Rouge goes to the jungle area, and this level actually isn't rehashed yet, because Sonic's jungle area was the only unique level in the entire game, and the only part that nobody else got to play. So, this level's easy as hell, by the way, because Rouge's flight ability kind of breaks the whole thing. So you can basically skip over all the enemies till the very end when the game makes you defeat all the enemies, which doesn't take too long. And you beat the level, and you find Omega. Really, why are all of Sonic's friends always clustered in the same relative location? Why are they all around Soliana? Why is Omega here? Why is he here? Why is he here?
Rouge the Bat.
Everybody super Sonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're super Sonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're just super Sonic racing, running to the point of no return. Everybody.
What did you do to his voice? Why does he sound like that? Why does he... What the fuck? So, Rouge is the one who actually asked Omega to go into standby mode, and she gives him the emerald to take back to the future. And, by the way, am I the only one who finds it a little weird that everyone took the Chaos Emeralds back with them through time? Because that won't cause any problems for the future or the past. I have no idea where the hell all these emeralds are going. The emeralds are just going all over the place, really. So she tells Omega to wait around for 500 fucking years. And he's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So Shadow confronts Mephiles, and Mephiles is all like, join me. Come to the dark side. Humanity will betray you. And Shadow's like, I'm too hardcore for you. I don't need your help. I'm not gonna help you. And then they fight, and the music for this fight is fucking awesome. Why is it in this game? And God, this fight itself is stupid, because all you do is you fight his minions, and it would be a really cool concept if you had to find the source of his power or something, because Mephiles literally becomes your shadow in the ground, which is a really cool effect, by the way. Why is it in this game? And God damn it, you just kill his minions over and over and over again to charge up your bars so you can go fucking Ultra Super Chaos Shadow. I forget what it's called, I don't even give a fuck. And I guess it somehow forces Mephiles out of his fucking shadow, and then you get to beat his face in, but that's not good enough, and then Omega shows up and you gotta beat his face in as Omega, because that was really fucking necessary. Thanks for making me do that twice. And then they fucking follow Mephiles back to the past, because that's really convenient. Thanks for that. And they meet up with Rouge, and it was just waiting around. How did she know they were gonna be here? Really? How did she fucking know that? And then Shadow goes to Radical Train. I didn't touch on this before, but really, I gotta talk about this Radical Train thing, because, for one, Shadow's pursuing Dr. Robotnik because he wants to know something about Mephiles. And Robotnik is traveling by train, and for one, that is a huge gaping plot hole. Why is Robotnik traveling by train? He has a fucking egg carrier, he has a flying battle cruiser. Now he's gonna travel by train, because that's the way to go. Why? And for two, after this entire level, which sucks by the way, I didn't think you needed to know. It was already the same level you played as Sonic, because that was really good the first time. Shadow destroys Eggman's train and travels along the same exact path, doing the same exact thing that Sonic did, right? Right after this is where Shadow saves Sonic from Silver, who is here to save the future! But think about this for a second. Sonic just saved Elise from Dr. Robotnik during Radical Train on the train level. They were both chasing a train on the same track with the same guy in it on the same exact path. How is that even remotely possible? It's not. It's not possible. They couldn't have. There was no way. They didn't see each other. The trains look different, I think. And what the fuck? How? Someone tell me how. So Shadow jumps in to save Sonic, remember? And Silver's like, Mephiles, why are you getting in my way? I am here to save the future! And Shadow's like, I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog. Too badass for you. And the Silver fight is just as dumb as it was before. The only difference now is that there's a wider area, so the fight is a little easier, and I actually got stuck in that stupid I'm stuck over top of him loop to show you how dumb it is. You just die, because that's great. And after the fight, Silver just tries to punch Shadow.
Chaos control!
Roll it again.
Chaos control!
Never gonna get old. But tell me something, why does he suddenly think that he can take Shadow in hand-to-hand combat? Why does he try to punch him? Why?
Chaos control!
He can throw him with his mind. He'd been doing that the entire fight. Why all of a sudden does he try to hit him with his fist? And Silver's like, I can't lose. I'm here to save the future. I can't lose. And then Silver, for some reason, decides that he can do chaos control too. And then they both do it, because why? And they open a rift through time and they decide to go back to the past again to figure out what happened 10 years prior to the events of this game. And they arrive in the lab and shit explodes. You question why you're still playing this. And then they get the fucking scepter and they decide to split up. And then you play that stupid lab mission, which is the same level as before, except that even though they split up, Silver's right there to play part of the level for you. Thanks for that. You find Mephiles, who's still a Shadow. You seal him, which explains how he knew who Shadow was when he came out before. And then you meet up with Silver, who says he sealed the flames. More on that later, and he just leaves. And then Shadow leaves the Scepter of Darkness behind. Why did you leave my scepter behind? So Shadow and Silver teleport back to the present, and then Rouge asks where the kid is, as in Silver. How did she know that Shadow was with Silver? She wasn't there for Radical Train. Shadow left them behind. How do you know that? How do you possibly know that? So they realize they have to go find the Scepter of Darkness again. They want to find my scepter again, those dicks. And they gotta find its location, but here's the thing. Don't they already know where it's at? I know where it's at. They dropped it at Kingdom Valley. So go back and get it. It's probably still there. But somehow it's not there. It's under some kind of weird protection thing or something. But in order to figure that out, you have to talk to this archaeologist. And then you have to save her from Iblis Spawn. And I can't even tell you what a gaping plot hole this is. The problem with this is that at this point in the timeline, Iblis hasn't been released. Iblis Spawn only show up when Iblis is released. That's the only way they come into existence. So pray tell, how are all the Spawn here Iblis Spawn? How are they here? And why am I saving this fucking archaeologist at all? Because I guess she has to tell you that how to find this fucking Scepter of Darkness, even though I already know where my own damn scepter is. That's good. What you have to do is you have to find this fucking fountain and light all the flames around it with your Chaos Spear, and then there's the scepter, my scepter, and then this fucking dialogue comes on the screen.
Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to the Wave Ocean, head to Wave Ocean. Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to Wave Ocean immediately.
Wait, play that again.
Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to the Wave Ocean, head to Wave Ocean. Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to Wave Ocean immediately.
Oh my god, you flubbed your line. Oh my god, there's a fucking outtake in the game dialogue. What?
123 Omega
You're joking. There's no. No. That didn't just happen. You're kidding. Really? This game was rushed so much out the door that you couldn't fix a flubbed line. Great. You have to go back to Wave Ocean, because that was really fun the first time. And you have to ride your fucking hang glider. And you have to play as Omega. And you have to play as Shadow. All this was so much fun the first time. I don't know why. What I missed about the place. I've only been to the same level 3 fucking times. And then you meet up with Mephiles, but you don't fight him. And Omega confesses that he's the one who captured Shadow in the future. Even though that makes no sense. Because Omega was on standby mode the whole time. How could he have been the one to have captured Shadow? Do I just come out of that standby mode, stop Shadow, then go back into standby mode? That wasn't his mission. That was not the protocol he set. Why would it suddenly change randomly? It makes no sense. And, you know, honestly, this scene here would be really good if it wasn't in this game, because you want to know why? Because there's like some really deep character development in Team Dark. This whole thing, and Rouge, you know, says she's completely loyal to Shadow and will stay by him, which was a really deep scene. As someone who always appreciated the relationship that Rouge and Shadow have, to have such a line, such a deep, meaningful line exist in this piece of crap of a game is just offensive. God damn it! Why? Why couldn't this have been in a better game? Why couldn't this stuff happen in a good game? Why? So, you fucking go back and you fight more a Bliss spawn. Again! And I know someone else is going to argue with that maybe Mephiles could spawn a Bliss spawn. And maybe that's true. But I don't think it is. So, the region, again, gives you permission to go to the desert. Like, you're really fucking protecting the desert. Which you fly a hovercraft over. Oh yeah, I hadn't mentioned the fucking hovercraft yet. I almost missed that. That and the motorcycle. I gotta talk about these before I get too far ahead of myself. Alright, the motorcycle you fucking used to chase the train before, right? And it fucking has guns on it, and why is it here? And you used to jump even though the controls suck. Yeah, that's about all I gotta say. And the hovercraft, it can flip over if you don't set it right and you just die. That was fun. And here you use it to protect yourself from that killer sand. That dastardly sand that'll fucking kill you. And then you get inside the temple and you dodge sand waves, but you don't sink in this sand. Oh no. This sand's completely different. No. This sand just goes along in waves for no fucking reason that's ever been explained at all. It just does. Omega can fly, by the way. You play as him at 1.2. And he fucking cheats because you can just go around everything. Because if you just mash the A button, you never lose any altitude. So you could basically fly indefinitely. It's a game flaw. Yeah. So you find Mephiles, you're too late, because he's trying to get the Chaos Emeralds to do something. Even though he already has one. And then you fight him, and this fight's a little better than the first one. Although the music's not as good. Just because it goes a lot faster. It just feels more like an actual boss fight, I guess. I don't know why Mephiles is randomly invincible for no reason. That's never explained. So you beat Mephiles, and they try to seal him in my scepter again. And that doesn't work for reasons that are never really elaborated on. Mephiles is like, I absorbed your power. And now it doesn't work. And then he just fucking obliterates them. And then Shadow takes his fucking wrist rings off, and then goes berserk and obliterates him, and that's how it ends. And really, this whole thing mystifies me. This whole Shadow's rings restrict him has never come into play in any game prior to or since 06. You know where it comes from? Apparently it comes from Sonic X. Because that's something we want to reference. Why the fuck does it randomly come into play here for no fucking reason? Also, by the way, Shadow's theme, All Hail Shadow. I didn't touch much on the music yet. I don't like his world very much, which is Sonic's theme, but Shadow's theme, All Hail Shadow, I hate All Hail Shadow. It is an awful, awful, awful song. And I want you to know that.
Oh, but Silver's story is next. Don't you want to quit before you get that far?
Shut up! I'm finishing this! This is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.